All right, you can follow him on X, Rudy G Carp 12. He joins us on the Right to the Guest line. All right, Rudy, you're an agent as well. Do you have a couple guys? I'm told you have a couple guys that are hoping to get drafted over the next few days or once the draft starts.
Yeah, we have two guys. We have a defensive lineman at a UNLV named Jonathan Baldwin. Probably both of our guys are probably, late round picks. We have another receiver that's real good player. He was actually a University of San Diego, so a small school kid. But he was the player of the year in that conference. He had 1,700 yards receiving and 14 or 15 touchdowns this year. Good player. Actually, before I got on this interview, he just called me because he had a long conversation with Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Patriots.
Good.
Just a few minutes ago. But yeah, I mean, both of our guys are most likely, late round guys. But guys that, we're hoping that will play a long time.
So without giving away all your secrets, what do you tell these guys as they prepare? They all hope that they're going to go higher than maybe they do. How do you prepare them for they do get selected higher, or B, they get selected lower than they thought?
Yeah, I mean, with the specific guys that we have this year, I'm just always very honest with these guys, and have, told them from the very beginning, hey, we expect that, you guys will go late in the draft. And if you go late in the draft, that is what it is. There's nothing that we can do about it. You're going to get selected where you get selected. And so as your agent, I think it's more important that we prepare as an agency and that we prepare you guys as players in case you don't get drafted. Because if you don't get drafted, all of a sudden it becomes a free-for-all when the draft is over. And typically for guys that are undrafted, they are what they call priority free agents, and they have to make a decision on what team they're going to go to really within minutes, 10, 15 minutes of the draft being over. And it moves very, very quickly, and you have to make sure you pick the right opportunity. There are some people who believe that, you're almost much better not getting drafted. If you're drafted in the first 5 rounds, so be it. But if you're going to be drafted in round 6 or 7, a lot of people believe you're almost better off not getting drafted at all, because now you get a chance to pick where you want to go and go to a team. If you play wide receiver that doesn't have a lot of receivers, or that didn't just pick a bunch of receivers in the draft, and you can give yourself a much better chance to make a team because you get to pick where you're going to go. What a lot of people don't realize is in the later rounds of the draft, a lot of teams will just pick whoever the best player on the board that's available based on their evaluation. That could mean that maybe they already have 4 quarterbacks or 5 quarterbacks on the roster. And if you're the best player available, when their pick in the 6th round comes up, they're just going to draft you. And that's obviously not always a good thing. So a lot of times once the 5th round, comes to a close or comes close to an end, teams will start calling players who have not been drafted and trying to recruit them. Hey, if you're not drafted, we want to sign you. If you're not drafted, we want to sign you. You got a good chance to make the team here. You got a good chance to be on practice squad. We'll give you this much money in a signing bonus. We'll give you this much money. We'll guarantee you this much money in your contract. We'll give you a paragraph 5 guarantee in case you get cut. We got to pay you a certain amount of money. No, those things start happening, really in round 6 and 7. And so for us, because we can't do anything if a guy gets drafted, to me, it's just hey, if you get drafted, great, but let's make sure we have a really, really good plan in case you don't get drafted.
And really, it seems as though that's probably that best avenue for a lot of guys. How much do a lot of these scouts or teams share with the agents like yourself, representatives, in reference to, hey, this guy's projected, you talked about your guys, probably lower round guys, but how much is projected? Oh, he might go anywhere from the 1st round to 2nd round or 3rd to 5th. How much do they share with you to share some of that potential of where these guys might be picked?
None. That's why it's so funny whenever you see these projections on these websites. Think about it. If you were an NFL team and you spent millions and millions and millions of dollars a year in scouting, are you just going to give away that information for free? And so it's always funny to me that these draft grades get out there. The truth of the matter is when you're talking about the first round and maybe even halfway into the second round, the top 40 picks, the top 45 picks, maybe even the top 50 picks have a good idea that they're going to be picked somewhere in those top 50 picks. If you're a high first round pick, if you're a top 10 guy, top 15 guy, a lot of times that you're going to be drafted somewhere in that range, but that's because you're doing a lot of team visits. You're meeting with GMs, you're meeting with head coaches. They're literally telling you, they're going to try and draft you in X spot, or they're coming to work you out. You're having dinner with these teams. You're having multiple meetings with these teams. A lot of that. But when you get into like the end of the second round, so let's just call it the third round through the seventh round, nobody has a clue what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It really comes down to scouts and how they've evaluated and what scout has been able to get into the GM's ear and really, really pound the table for their guy that they've scouted, who they believe in can come in and make a difference. So yeah, I mean, when you're talking about guys that are picked, after round 2, nobody knows who's getting drafted where or have any information.
Rudy Carpenter is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Rudy, you were a QB at ASU, played really well, got into the NFL, and now you operate as an agent. So is it trying to throw everybody off on Shedeur Sanders, or is he going to sit in the green room like Aaron Rodgers did and not get drafted in the first round till the late 20s?
I don't have any idea. I mean, yeah, you could make the argument that, it's a lot of smoke that's being put out there and all of that. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. At the end of the day, it's a quarterback driven league. You need a quarterback to be obviously successful. Some of these teams, whether it's the Browns or the Giants or whoever, I don't think they've found their long-term answer as a franchise quarterback. So because of that, they have to look at every single option that's available, which includes Shedeur Sanders. And I'm sure that they have spent a lot of time evaluating him, watching tape, meeting with him, trying to understand who he is, his personality, family dynamic, and everything else. And I think ultimately it's going to come down to whether or not those teams that are picking, high in the first round believe that he can come in there and be the difference maker for them. Whether they believe that or not, I don't know. But if you're not sold on a guy at the quarterback position, to me, it just doesn't make sense to draft him. It might make a little bit more sense now than it did before because of the rookie wage scale, and you don't have to guarantee a guy $60 or $70 million in guaranteed money. So it doesn't set you back, as much as it used to. Would I be surprised if Shedeur doesn't go, as early in the top 5 picks? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think he's a good player. I think he's a good thrower of the football. I think he's a good decision maker. He's got good accuracy, good timing, good anticipation. I think he's proven to be physically tough. I think they make a big deal about him not having a strong arm. But I also think there's a personality piece of it, and whether or not he can truly fit inside the locker room and lead a group of grown men. And I would imagine there are some people in every building who aren't sold on him, and there are some people in those same buildings who are sold on him. So we're going to see, which side wins out come draft night. What I do know is he wasn't invited to the draft. And if he's not invited to the draft, I think that tells you a lot.
Interesting.
Wow.
Rudy, enjoy the weekend, man. I know you're going to be working your butt off, and we appreciate you jumping on with us today. So thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks.
That's Rudy Carpenter getting ready for the draft on Thursday. As he mentioned, he's got a couple guys. You can follow him on X at RudyGCarp12. He is brought to you today by All City Towing. Join a team at the largest towing company in the state, and that is All City Towing. They have positions across the board, great benefits. Find out for yourself. Go to their website, allcitytowing.com, and search careers. That's All City Towing, where your future is on the move. All right. How many screens are in your home? It might be more than you think. And Shannon Sharp has been accused of rape in a lawsuit filed in Nevada. We'll get into that next. It's Roc Manuch with Jimmy B right here on ESPN 620.
At Grand Canyon University, we believe in equal opportunity.